We are following breaking news on a potentially historic settlement in the ongoing legal fight over social media's impact on teens. Meta, which is, of course, the parent company of Facebook and Instagram, has agreed to pay up to $18 billion as part of a lawsuit brought by dozens of states accusing it of harming children by designing addictive products. Meta denies the allegations, but as part of the agreement, the social media giant says it will put in place a number of protections for teens, including a 2-hour daily time limit on its apps, which will be disabled overnight. Notifications will be muted during school hours. Likes and reactions will be hidden by default, and teens will be prompted every 15 minutes of continuous screen time. The proposed settlement still requires sign-off from the judge in the case, who was briefed by lawyers from both sides of the case earlier today. NBC News business and economy reporter Ali Kanal joins me now. Thank you so much for being here, Ali. So just break this down, because Meta continues to deny any wrongdoing. So why exactly are they settling right now?
Yeah, settling a week into this trial here. And really, a settlement creates this certainty, right? I mean, earlier this year, Meta lost 2 very high-profile cases, one in L.A., one in New Mexico. And reputationally, the company has been under a ton of pressure. CEO Mark Zuckerberg has really taken the brunt of that negativity. And he was actually supposed to testify in this trial at some point. So you have to wonder if maybe that went into the calculus here of the decision to settle. Also, the states at one point were seeking $1.4 trillion. So while $18 billion is a heck of a lot of money, again, it creates that certainty of what Meta ultimately will pay here.
Yeah, and it's a whole lot less than $1 trillion. So let's talk about some of these protections, because that's really what's at the core of this. What do the protections actually look like? What do they accomplish, Ali?
Yeah, the protections are sweeping, and they're pretty tangible here. So there's going to be a 6-month implementation period. And then after that, teens will default to that 2-hour daily limit across both Instagram and Facebook. The apps will also be blocked for teens from midnight to 6 a.m. and push notifications will be muted during school hours from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. So really a focus on school time and sleep time. These are default, so parents can choose to change them. But Meta's also going a step further and really pushing on their industry peers, particularly TikTok and YouTube, to adopt these same types of restrictions.
What are the chances that that's actually going to happen?
Well, they're hoping that they can pressure the states to put pressure on these companies, right? Because actually 30% of that $18 billion Meta is holding back unless YouTube and TikTok agree to these restrictions, and that they each pay $6 billion, because Meta's whole argument is that if kids get kicked off of Instagram, they're just going to go on TikTok and on YouTube, so that they can take the first step, but they can't take the full step. Whether those companies respond in the way they want them to, that remains to be seen.
All right. Well, thank you so much for bringing us this breaking news.
Of course.
Ali Kanal, we really appreciate it. Great to see you in
You
person.
too.
Thank you for being here. With me now is one of the attorneys general who filed that lawsuit against Meta, Jennifer Davenport of New Jersey. Thank you so much for joining me. So let's dive right in. Do you think this settlement goes far enough to address one of the key concerns that you have raised in the lawsuit about these platforms effectively being designed to be addictive for kids?
Yeah, so thanks for having us and really giving us the platform to be able to talk about what is so important here. Our North Star has always been to hold Meta accountable for the harms that they have caused and the harms to our young people. And this settlement really is meaningful and immediate. And that's what's really important. If you think about these safety features that Meta has agreed to implement, we are going to see that within months. And how that affects our young people in the future and really protects them is I think going to be, this historic settlement really does show how important that is.
Well, I'm curious because you heard my colleague Ali Kanal lay out the fact that part of this depends on Meta's competitors, YouTube and TikTok, effectively enacting some of their own protections. Is that realistic? Do you anticipate that's going to happen?
So the safety features that we have here Meta is required to do that across Instagram and Facebook, and that's for 5 years, regardless. But the part that is key about getting other parts of the industry on board here is that if we have the same results for the interventions with Snapchat, with TikTok, with YouTube, then it will extend for 10 years. And not only that, the 2-hour time limit will reduce to 1 hour. So this is regardless of these other platforms, this is going to happen with Facebook and Instagram, everything you see here. If we're able to bring that pressure and that enforcement that we do all the time. I mean, this has been a 5-year endeavor that New Jersey has co-led, and we are going to do that. We are not stopping now. Certainly, this is the era of holding big tech accountable. We only will see additional and longer safeguards as well as limited times.
When you talk about accountability, Meta is worth about $1.5 trillion. This proposed settlement would amount to basically less than 2% of its value. Do you think the penalty is harsh enough?
So the safety features, the immediate safety features that we're able to have here, I mean, just think about it. In the time that we've been on here, how many more users are on these platforms without these safeguards? So everything that we can do and do it immediately while we continue to to use our enforcement tools. And this isn't the only thing we're doing. Of course, there's the monetary piece of this as well. But in New Jersey, Governor Sherrill and our legislature have a suite and a host of bills, including the age appropriate design code, which will go into effect next year. And that really targets the algorithmic use, right? And that compulsive behavior by design that we're also looking at. So we have our actions against Discord, against TikTok still going. We're not letting up here. We're going to make sure that everybody knows that when these big tech companies put their profits over our kids' safety, that we're not going to stand for that.
And just to this point that the protections are set to expire in about 5 to 10 years, are you working to try to make that permanent? What recourse do you have there?
So, look, we see how often things change, right, in 5 minutes in technology. So what we have here, of course, is going to evolve over time. What we have here is a safeguard, at least in this, for 5 years, and perhaps 10 if we get these others on board, which I have no doubt our coalition of states, just like we lead in every way, we will make sure to hold folks accountable. So our pressure is not going to be let up. Our enforcement actions are going to continue, and we're going to do everything we possibly can to keep our kids safe.
And you have other countries, Australia, for example, that have enacted social media bans for teens as well. Do you think these restrictions that are being proposed for Meta are more practical? Do they fall in line with some of what you're seeing in other countries?
So I think what we see here is really those safeguards to combat what we know the harms to be, right? When we have kids up all night and again, the designs where you have the need for compulsive use, these are all safeguards that are really going to help parents make the right decisions to protect their kids, protect their teens. And this landmark settlement really is the largest settlement in history outside of big tobacco. And if we think about another similarity here with big tobacco is that it was all states' actions as well. And we see, because we don't have that nationwide, no action by Congress here to set these limits, states are acting, and states are going to be the ones to stand up and protect our kids. And
I do want to switch gears here and ask you about another big topic I know you're focused on. You're among 25 Democratic attorneys general who filed a new lawsuit today challenging President Trump's executive order that effectively seeks to restrict mail-in voting. What is at the center of this lawsuit? What makes it different from the other suits that are challenging that order?
So the center of this lawsuit is that states run their own elections, right? Certainly not the federal government, certainly not the United States Postal Service. So we are in court once again because of the unconstitutional rules that our federal administration has put out, and we'll be fighting this in court just like we have with many other unconstitutional acts that come from the federal government.
Given that we're basically in the general election now, how quickly do you think you'll get a ruling here?
Hopefully soon.
Okay. Attorney General Davenport, please come back once you have an answer. Thank you. Once we know what the ruling is, we really appreciate it.
We thank you for watching. And remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.